All right, minions. Last video in this series, we're looking at reliability of public opinion data. So let's get started by talking about what a sampling error is. All good polls are going to tell you what their sampling error is, or the margin of error a poll may have, and can still be reliable. So if they're showing a percentage that's 4% or lower, that is good. That's a good poll. And when they say plus or minus 4%, what they mean is if Joe Biden's polling at 52% of the popular vote, that means that he could either be polling at really be at 56 or 48. So plus or minus that percentage from what they're reporting. Anything outside of 4% is not a good poll. So why are polls unreliable? Why should you be skeptical of any kind of poll? And we're going to look at 6 different reasons. First, we're going to talk about social desirability bias. This one really messed up the 2016 presidential election polls. Everyone had Hillary running away with this thing, and Trump won. So why? What happened with the polls? Why were they wrong? Well, one of the reasons is because people lie to the pollsters. They lie because they don't want to be judged. And it was not in 2016, a lot of people did not want people to judge them for voting for Trump, and so they told them otherwise. And especially if the pollster themselves sounded to them like somebody who might do so. Other factors are technological changes. It's becoming more and more difficult because of the changing ways in which we communicate to get a random sample. If you remember, one of the major ways they do this is through the robo-dialing, right? They randomly select phone numbers, landlines, and they call people, and that's how they get their feedback. But increasingly, young people don't have landlines, and they don't answer numbers that they don't recognize. As a result, it's becoming more difficult for those pollsters to get that random sample. Next, respondents' attitudes and knowledge. Many people don't care or don't know enough about the issues to give reliable information. So sometimes they're just answering questions without really knowing what they're answering. Jimmy Kimmel does a great thing on this where he goes on the street and asks people about what they think about different issues, and it's clear that they don't know what they're talking about. One of the funny ones was he'd ask people about how they felt about the Affordable Care Act versus Obamacare, which it's the same thing, and people had, oh, Obamacare is terrible. Oh, the Affordable Care Act is amazing. We should definitely do that one. And late-breaking undecideds. This is another one that messed up the 2016 election polls. A lot of people just don't know how they're going to vote until the last minute. And that really played a part in 2016, where there was just a lot of people who made up their mind at the last minute to vote for Trump. Combine that with them lying to pollsters, and you get polls that are unreliable. Last but not least, you should always be cautious when looking at poll results because you don't know where they're coming from. They might be biased pollsters. It may not be a legitimate organization like Gallup, who is reputable, and they're just trying to get information to support their own agenda, right? They're manipulating the questions and the sampling, and they can't be trusted. So you always want to ask yourself who's conducting the poll and why. Another factor that should make you cautious about polls are push polls. Now, these are, again, political. A poll meant to, but they're polls meant to change opinions rather than actually measure them. A lot of times they're polls that are actually attack ads. And again, not scientifically done. And there are some examples here, right? Agree or disagree, Joe Biden cares about the issues I care about. All these questions are ordered and worded in a way to get you to have positive responses about Joe Biden. And when you're finished, it takes you to a place that asks you to donate money. Same thing here. This is one that Trump sent out. I stand with President Trump, or I believe Democrats and fake news. And if you are clicking on this thing, you're probably clicking I stand with President Trump. This is not a real poll question, but again, after you click it, it takes you to a place that asks you to donate money. So push polls, bias pollsters, you should be cautious about believing polls and understand the issues that exist with them. All right, guys, that's it. So we will talk more about government later. Pieces.